today with our opening congregational song, which you will find in the white addendum book. Scroll all the way back to the W's to "with a little help from my friends." Please rise and bow to your spirit as you are willing and able to join in singing. Welcome to the First Existentialist Congregation of Atlanta. We are a spiritual community philosophically based on existentialist and feminist principles dedicated to human liberation and the protection of the natural world. We make our spiritual home here in the Old Stone Church, which was hand-built by members of the African American Antioch East Baptist Church more than 100 years ago. We acknowledge that racial hostility drove those African Americans from the area, and we honor them and the powerful history of this place. We also acknowledge that in the 1800s, the Muskogee Creek people were driven from this land, and we support justice for all indigenous people. My name is Patton White, and I will be facilitating this morning's celebration of life. And our opening words are going to be a collaborative activity. I'm going to invite the words to come from you all. How are you feeling today?
Cold.
Cold.
Warm.
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 Sunny.
Sunny. What else?
Festive.
Festive.
Awake.
Awake.
Alive.
Alive. All right, I think that's enough. Now, those are our words. Everybody stand up as you are willing and able. And I'm going to invite Mick, actually, for you to, on the piano, just give us like a 1-minute dance on the piano. And we are going to dance the words. Yes, use the piano to give us an accompaniment for a 1-minute dance that includes all of these words we have just heard. Cold, warm, festive, alive. What else did I hear?
Okay.
Sunny, yes.
And you cue me in.
Go.
Instead of a cold.
And here we go. Whatever this means to you, cold, warm, festive, sunny, alive. Feeling grateful myself. And as we slowly make our way back to our seats, we will give gratitude to Mick for providing us with that improvised dance score.
Thank you for choreography.
Yes, thank everybody for their choreography. All right, so if anybody has a community announcement, we do have some supplies that you can write that announcement down on with to at for back there, and just get them up to me before Marcia finishes her fellowship minister moment. Do we have anyone here for the first time or second time? Haven't been around for a while? All right. Then we'll move on to birthdays or anniversaries. Any birthdays or anniversaries to celebrate? Edith. Edie. Do you have a birthday or an anniversary? And I see Jan as well.
Christmas, the day after Christmas. That's
All right, so let's start with a happy birthday to Jan. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jan. Happy birthday to you. And now Edie, birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Edie. Happy birthday to you. Birthday costume. All right, so we are going to go on to our next congregational song, and that is in the Pink Book on page 27. Deck the halls. Please rise and body your spirit as you are willing and able to help us. Again on page 27, Decking the Halls. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, la la la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la la la. On we now are gay apparel, la la la. Roll the ancient Yuletide carol, la la la. See everything will be for us, la la la. Struck the harp and join the chorus, la la la. All the meek and merry measure, la la la. Troubles came the Yuletide treasure, la la la. Pass away the old year passes, la la la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses, la la la. Sing we joyous all together, la la la. Heedless of the wind and weather, la la la. At this time, I'd like to invite Marcia Mitchner, our fellowship minister, to come forward to share her moment.
Good morning, everybody. Isn't it a beautiful day? I got a text message from Karen Thornton, who was saying that her sister and brother, who live in different towns in Tennessee, were going to meet up and exchange presents, and they both had to drive through a snowstorm. So let's appreciate even though it's a little chilly, we can appreciate how beautiful it is outside. If you remember, last week I talked about looking at the holidays with curiosity. And so I've been doing things outside, putting up hanging balls up in the trees and stuff like that. And in the process, I came, because, you know, one day last week it was like 70 degrees or something like that. And so, and there was a little inchworm. And I thought, oh, poor little baby. Poor little baby, it started squealing, I think. Poor little baby, what's going to happen, you know, when it gets cold? So I looked it up. And it's beautiful because the little inchworm, I mean, it deliberately will fall to the ground when it starts getting cold, and then it spins a cocoon and becomes a pupa, and it stays down there on the ground or burrows into the ground, and then in the spring it emerges as a moth. And I thought, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's something I didn't know about the little inchworm. I just figured they always were inchworms. I didn't know. But that's what curiosity. And I really enjoyed, you know, going through my day and thinking about, you know, some of the things that are just everyday little occurrences, but I haven't been, maybe I just haven't been present enough to think about, you know, what a wonder it is, all of these little things that are going on around us. So I hope, again, that you will think about being curious over the holidays and each day, you know, living in the moment and just being present, being aware and enjoying the little things, because the little things, just like that little inchworm, when I read about it, because I was worried about the little inchworm, but when I read about it and I saw how wonderful that it was going to become a moth. It knew what to do and was going to become a moth. And so it made me smile. So little things can make you smile and warm your heart. And so whatever it is that, you know, that gives you pleasure, that makes you feel good, when you're there in that moment, just be aware of it and appreciate it, enjoy it, and have a good holiday, everybody.
We have a few community announcements. First of all, there is a card, a get well card for Andy by the name tags. And so if you would like to sign or send a message, it is waiting for signatures back there, where you see Richard taking advantage of that. Also, if you can, at the end of this celebration of life, take the instruments and the cushions to the back after today's service. Many hands make lighter work. Any other community announcements? All right, then we will go ahead now and move into our time of silence. We have candles on either side of the sanctuary, and this is a time to be in community with one another and at the same time quietly focusing on our internal selves. So once again, we will open up the pink book, this time just one page over from 27 to 28, to sing Joy to the World. Please rise and body your spirit as you are willing and able. Let lovely music, and thank you to all who have contributed. Our featured speaker today is Sara Drew. Sara serves as the outreach coordinator here at First E. She is a fairly recent graduate of Candler School of Theology, where she completed concentrations in chaplaincy and justice, peace building, and conflict transformation. She is also a Unitarian Universalist ministerial aspirant and a resident hospital chaplain at Emory's Midtown Hospital. Sara seeks to continue to develop her abilities in connecting people to their strengths and providing radical hospitality. And she will be sharing her talk entitled Lanterns with us this morning. Help me welcome Sara to the podium.
First order of business, I'm going to pass this basket. It has index cards in it. If you could just take an index card, and then it has like writing implements in it. If you could just take one of each. You don't need it right away, but hopefully by the time everybody gets one, we'll be ready to go. It is my pleasure to be with you this morning. I took the title and the topic from some inspiration from Marian Wright Edelman, if you're familiar with her. She has a memoir entitled Lanterns, a memoir of mentors. And just in case there's somebody who doesn't know of her, doesn't know the depth of her life and work, I'm going to do a little synopsis. She is a bright star, Marian Wright Edelman. She's 85 now. She is from South Carolina and came here to Atlanta to Spelman College in 1956. While she was there, she was able to study abroad at the Sorbonne in France and also in Switzerland in the Soviet Union, which I just can't even imagine what that was like in the 50s and 60s. When she returned from her studies abroad, she came back to Spelman and participated in the civil rights protests at segregated lunch counters. She was arrested for sitting in and refused to leave along with 77 other students. I'm just going to rattle off a bunch of her accomplishments because they are vast and many, but I want to give a good, full presentation of her work. She went on to Yale Law School. She was the first woman admitted to the Mississippi bar. She worked for the NAACP's Mississippi office and fought for civil rights, supported the activists during the Mississippi Freedom Summer. She helped establish the Head Start program, which is pretty much nationwide now for young children. She helped establish the Poor People's Campaign, which we have a sign for right outside our door, with Martin Luther King Jr. She helped organize the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. She was the first Black woman to be elected to the Yale Board of Trustees. In 1973, she founded the Children's Defense Fund, which would go on to continue the work of Head Start. And she started CHIP rolling, Children's Health Insurance Program, and she helped to overhaul the foster care system, and she continues to be a pillar of the civil rights and children's rights advocacy. There are a lot of reasons to love and revere her. There are perhaps more famous people, but you'd have trouble convincing me that there are more important people to the fabric of modern American culture, making their life's work, making America a better place, making the world a better place to be. But my current and primary appreciation of Marian Wright Edelman right now is that her memoir, which could have been a thick offering of all of those experiences and all the work she has done and all the fights she had to fight to make this world a better place, is instead a book called Lanterns, a Memoir of Mentors. And instead of focusing on her, though it does focus on her because it's her lanterns, it focuses on the people that allowed her to do that work instead. Her list of lanterns, again, is another long and perhaps maybe even more impressive than her list of accomplishments. And And she names her parents, though, as providing that primary foundation. She notes that they had breakfast on the table every morning when she woke up, and dinner on the table every afternoon when she got home from school. Early dinner, I guess. She says, our parents worked hard to keep us physically and morally clean, and to maintain the rituals of family and life and community work. She also lists her neighbors and her aunties in her young childhood as providing her a lot of care and guidance. And then she lists her teachers, some formal teachers, actually her professors and such, some coworkers and some counterparts in struggle. She lists, again, this is just a small sample, Marian Anderson, Ella Baker, Septima Clark, Medgar Evers, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Thurgood Marshall, Howard Thurman, and Howard Zinn. She also lists a few people that are not people that were in her personal life, but people whose example really gave her some bolstering, some guidance, some thing to live up to, like Harriet Tubman. And so now that almost everyone is, Joe, I think you're the last one to get a card, has a card, I thought we might take the opportunity. Oh, you don't have them in the middle yet, okay. Okay, it's coming. All right, so what your card is for, noticing that it's a bright neon colored card, right? It's going to be your little list of lanterns. And so I thought we might consider our own personal lanterns here together this morning. And so you might or might not list your parents. You might list people, other people in your childhood, your neighbors, your aunties, or otherwise. I have my very best friend's parents would be some of my lanterns from childhood. And so I'm just going to give you a minute to think about those early people in your life that really guided you. Recognizing that some of us will have more or less of those.
Only in our early life?
For now. If they're just flooding you, you're welcome to write them down now from any time of life. And then following Marian Wright Edelman's lead, maybe you'll think of teachers, both formal teachers, if you have them on your list, or informal teachers, people you have encountered that taught you something important, even if it was outside of that formal relationship. She is quick also to mention that many of her students have been her biggest teachers. And so if you are a teacher, you might think of those students that have taught you a lot. Similarly, if you are parents, it is likely that your children have taught you a lot. You might include them. Thank you, Mary. And then you can, of course, keep thinking about this, but then those, maybe famous people, maybe encouraging stories, maybe people who you don't know personally, but have provided you some guidance, some fulfillment, some encouragement to keep going, like Harriet Tubman, like Marian Wright Edelman, uses, or to think more broadly, musicians or artists or anyone that has really sustained you. Philosophers, people in this room, people in this congregation, past and present. I'm going to keep talking, but you can continue to think about that and add to your card. The other thing that I thought really interesting was in Marian Wright Edelman's memoir was that she also lists a bunch of formative experiences, which I would not consider lanterns, because they were jarring. They were something that sort of kept her focused on a need for change. And just to give you a few of those, she had an experience of one of her childhood friends and neighbor who stepped on a rusty nail, but didn't have a tetanus shot and couldn't get a tetanus shot. His mother did not have access to, or actually even know that that's what would have saved him. And so he died from that, just stepping on a rusty nail. And so that was one of her formative experiences. Her father died when she was just 14, and her mother started to become a foster parent. And so she had firsthand experiences with foster children and their experiences before they got to her house, and the love that her mother provided them. And so she was really interested in, reforming that system and giving children in need safe and fulfilling places to go. And she also tells a story of being witness to a car accident with her father. It happened near their house late one night, and it was like this big commotion. And so she and her father went to the scene to see, and her father died when she was 14. She doesn't say how old she was during the story, but she was younger than 14. They arrived at the scene, and the ambulance came, but the ambulance, the two cars that got in the accident were a white truck driver and a black man driving a car, and the black man was severely injured. But when the ambulance came, they saw that the white man driving the truck was okay, and so the ambulance left. And so that was one of her formative experiences too. Yes, and again, that's just like a few of those things. So you can see that those, I wouldn't call those lanterns, right? Those aren't bright shining things, but they certainly guided her. And so I might consider them, the word I came up with for them is guideposts, right? Things that made her resolute in her work. And so you might consider those things for yourself too, maybe on the other side of the card, right? What were there things, were there opportunities or experiences that you might not have even chosen to have. If you could have not done those things or seen those things, you would not have. But nonetheless, they provided you some sort of reason to be, or gave you sustenance for your work. I think it's really interesting. This always happens to me. And I actually was thinking it might be like an existentialist thing. That, months ago I decided to talk about Marian Wright Edelman and lanterns. And then ever since then, all these things are bubbling up in my own life that make me think about, because I'm carrying this idea of lanterns around, and then all these problems present themselves where maybe that's the answer. And I don't know if I'm the one that's orchestrating all that, or it is actually happening, but either way, I am a candidate for ministry, and I'm really lucky as a minister. I get to work with a lot of other ministers. Sometimes ministers are it's a very solitary job sometimes. Lots of congregational ministers have their congregation, and so in that way it's not solitary, but I get to be fulfilled by all these other ministers that are also chaplains at the hospital. And I'm 46, and I have not been a minister for very long. I'm a candidate. I've been a lot of other things, a librarian and a social worker and a business owner. But so I still get surprised by ministry sometimes because I haven't been doing it for very long. And one of my, you're all going to be like, why were you surprised by that? But I was surprised by the idea that not all ministers are cut out for ministry. Right? When I say it out loud, I'm of course, a lot of people come to places like this because they have been harmed by people in ministry, right? It makes sense, and I know that, and still, I think it's because I have such a reverence for ministry, right? Like, I think it's really important. I think all my life's work has led up to ministry. I think I am with people on some of the worst days of their lives, and it is nothing but an honor to be there with them. And so when I consider that position, and the other people who are doing this position with me, right, I have really high standards for them. And when they don't live up to those standards, I can get, my boss gave me this word the other day, who I love. She said, I can tell you're really annoyed. And I was like, I am really annoyed, you know? And I don't want to be annoyed, right? Like, that's not a fun thing to be like, all Patton's words, right? Like sunny, maybe not cold, Nancy, I don't want to be cold either, but sunny, festive, like, right, those things sound great. Annoyed is not one of those things that I want to be. But I'm in this like place where, and we're all in this place maybe where we want to be happy and we want to not watch the news, right? We want to have rose-colored glasses and be happy and rainbows and sunshine, and also there's a lot of injustice in the world. And so how do we find our way to be pillars, to be lanterns, to be guideposts for people in general, and also be full of light and love and be able to access things that we want to represent, right? So if I fight against injustice, which I want to do, which I want all of us to do, I don't want to have to be annoyed all the time to be able to do that. And so how can I be a lantern and fight for justice, right? So that's where I am in this. I have a lot more, when I get up here, I feel like I should have answers that I'm telling you, but honestly, I have a whole lot more questions. and I will never not have a lot of questions. And that's my current question, is how can we be both those things? How can we, where's that navigation, right? And I think about it for me, in my sort of evolution of moving toward being anti-racist, right? I have been in the past in this position where it was a very argumentative situation, right? Like a calling out, like, no, that's not right, you shouldn't do that. And eventually I came to a place where I was like, I'm confronting injustice when I do that, sure. And also, I'm not winning anyone, right? Like, I'm turning people away. And so, in looking for that more nuanced thing, and listening and being able to hear what people are really saying, even if I don't agree with them, and offering solutions or trying to make an actual change. How do I confront injustice and do that lovingly? That's my current question. And that's why I think this idea of lanterns is really helpful, because the fight is ugly and the fight is hard and the fight is long, and it's the second darkest day of the year, even though it's beautifully sunny. And who knows how dark it will get politically, right? That can be it can feel very ominous, right? We don't know what's to come. And so how do we maintain that light for ourselves and each other? And part of that, I think, is remembering what's on our card. Remembering all the light that has been shown on us. Remembering all the light we have within. All the love we can provide, all the light we can provide, for the sake of dismissing the work we need to do, but to give us sustenance to do that work. And so if any of you have the answers, I'm all ears, but that's where I'm working, and I think that's probably where we're all working, right? This is like the epitome of preaching to the choir, preaching to the literal choir today. And so Marian Wright Edelman is a lantern, and life is a lantern to me. I wish I will get to meet her personally, but that's probably unlikely. But she can be one of those important people that I keep in mind. She also offers 25 lessons, and I won't read you all of them, but she gives us 25 lessons in her memoir, and so I'm just going to pick a few of them to share with you. Lesson 15, bear all or most of the criticism and share all the credit. Lesson 6, be your word and lesson 6, keep your word and your commitments. Lesson 25, possessions and power don't make the man or woman. Principles, character, and love do. Lesson 22, don't let anything or anybody get between you and your education. And the last one I'll share is lesson 5. Don't be afraid to stick your neck out, to make mistakes, or to speak up. I usually like to end with a little guided meditation, and if you'll indulge me, I'd like to do that again today. So if you will settle into your seat really intentionally and maybe roll your head around your shoulders, seek out any tension that you're holding in your body. You might now already know this is where I hold tension, and attend to that however you want, but lots of people hold tension in their neck, in their jaw. You might shake out your lower jaw. In your hands, if you've been like clenching your hands tight, wherever you feel tight. And then settle into a position that allows you to feel comfortable, but not slumping. You can close your eyes or find a downward gaze if that's more comfortable, and just notice first. Whatever there is to notice, how do you feel? Back to Patton's original question, what is happening for you today? You might notice your breath and any characteristics there, fast, slow, deep, shallow, etc. And then drawing your mind's eye, there's a Hindu philosophy that I really love that says your anatomical heart is settled just slightly to the left in your body because there is an equal and parallel chamber on the right. So we know that the human heart is the size of a fist, so you imagine a fist-size chamber just on the left, and that's for your emotional heart. And so you imagine your little chamber there, emotional heart in the middle of your chest, and maybe a little candle inside that chamber. That candle's flame lit, holding those same characteristics that your breath had, maybe bright, maybe full, maybe not. Maybe you're really tired in a physical or emotional way, and that flame will represent that. Just bringing your attention to that flame. Just even noticing it, even thinking about it, makes it blaze a little bit more, a little brighter, a little stronger. And then moving your attention to your breath. If it's comfortable, breathe through your nose. And imagine with each inhale that you're just feeding that little flame with love. You might inhale one time each for all the people that you listed on your card. All the love they have poured into you, all the time and attention, grace. Letting that flame get nice and strong. maybe you're able to brighten that light so much so that you feel that warmth, that bright light wash over you, expanding beyond the walls of that fist-sized chamber to fill your whole chest, to reach all the way down your arms to the tips of your fingers and all the way down your legs to the tips of your toes, filling up your cheeks and your forehead all the way to the top of your head, maybe expanding so much so that your light shines, your warmth, your love, your energy shines beyond your body to the people next to you. All of us shining here, filling up the room. So that people walking by on the sidewalk might know something special is going on in here. Taking just 3 more really intentional breaths to let that light, that love, that peace, solid confidence of self expand to all your people wherever they are. And then coming back to the room when you're ready, you might blink open your eyes. You could bring movement back to your body. Thank you all so much for being with me today, letting me be with you. I hope that we all can maintain our lanterns through the season, and knowing that we're all lanterns for each other should surely help. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. We are going to close today with our closing congregational song, and they will also serve as our closing words. And so we are going to be singing the handout that was presented to you, hopefully, as you entered. And Nick will take it away.